All right, guys, let's connect today, April 27th, 2025, coming at you for the live stream to talk about The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 2, for sure. The series as a whole. How it's basically just a live action video game coming to HBO so far. They've really continued everything that they wanted to do from the video game to the show and have had minor changes. But other than that, guys, let me know your thoughts. Post your comments below. Hope you're doing well. I'm One Eyebrow, also known as PT. Don't know if I'm winking or blinking, but I'm definitely thinking about The Last of Us, The Dead City, Season 2 coming on back on May 4th. Coming back around. And, so hopefully you're safe and sound and doing well. Thank you for everybody taking the time to be here. If you're here for a couple minutes or the full hour, we'll be talking about a bunch of different things for the next hour. So, that's pretty cool stuff. Big Tree, Tim, and everybody else joining as we speak. Thank you for taking the time for being a part of this live stream. So, yeah, guys, we definitely have to talk about The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 2. And, yeah, so I was hoping that they just prolonged what happened in that episode. But they went right into it. They've really just done everything the same way the video game has done it. Abby is just smaller and not as muscular. The group is the group. Tommy is still awesome. Jesse is awesome. Dina is great. Ellie is Ellie. And Joel is Joel. And that's kind of the way we're going. And so the story will unfold, and it's, I thought they may prolong it a little bit and hoped, but they didn't. And, so we'll talk about that. We're just waiting for a couple more people to join in, so we'll talk about everything there. What else, guys? Anything else? The NFL draft was Thursday, Friday, and yesterday. Hopefully your team did something to get better. You like some of the picks. Are you excited for it? I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, and they kind of just did the necessary things with the offensive linemen and a couple of different players and a running back and, just shoring stuff up for the team because they have some playmakers here and there, and the Bucs did pretty well, and a lot of teams did pretty well, So we'll hope to see what happens there. It still looks like the Eagles are going to be tough to beat, and the Commanders are getting better too, and the Giants even made a little splash too. The big thing was Shedeur Sanders going in the 5th round, which is kind of crazy, and now they have a bunch of quarterbacks in Cleveland. So I don't know. It's just one of those things where I'm like, pretty cool. John says, Cowboys drafted a guy from my hometown, Shamar James. He's a beast. So hopefully he continues to be a beast on the Cowboys because they need some big playmakers across the board. That's for sure. Jaina Schowecker says, hey, it's my first time here. Love the show, and I know the game through my grandson. Everything is going just like the game so far. I freaking love it. So, yeah, if you love the games, you have to love the series so far because it's been basically shot for shot, live action stuff, and I think they did a good thing with it. And Heart Nixie doesn't like Ellie, says she's an unlikable character, so hopefully she'll grow on you. Like Ellie is kind of I don't know, annoying. Like, I don't know. In the video game, she's a little more annoying. Like, Joel is our guy, or like Joel is the main focal point. It's like Rick Grimes, right? Or Daryl, or whatever. You like these characters. Like, you like Joel. There's really nothing to not like about Joel. And then, again, spoiler warning, if you haven't seen episode 2, the big thing, the big gut punch was Joel dying. You're like, oh my goodness. It's like Rick Grimes dying. It's like Daryl dying. It's like the main person that you've been watching. And it's crazy because in the video game, you play as that character. So it's arguably, is Joel the main character? Is Ellie the main character? Either way, it doesn't matter. And then you get killed by Abby. and then you play as Ellie, and then you have to play as Abby later on. That's like a huge slap in the face for a lot of people, because like I can't remember another time in a video game that it's been done like that. Like it's just not a common thing where you're like playing as Batman and then the Joker kills Batman and then you have to play as the Joker. And you're like, what? The story we kind of like our protagonist versus antagonist aspect of it, and then it gets flipped upside down, and it's a huge gut punch. But, I mean, the episode was good. They really didn't do anything, excuse me, to really solidify Jackson Hole that well for security measures. And they did their stuff. They had the walls, and they had the barrels, and they had everything on there too as well, even though the barrel should have been way further away than there from the battle. But it should have been like a thing that can stop them, like a wall and then another wall kind of thing. Like, you know, in the medieval days, they had a moat, so you just don't come right up to the front. They have a drawbridge, so you just can't come right in. And it's so we'll talk about that later on, but it's just like, well, either way, action packed. Tommy did a good job. The dogs are really cool. I thought that was a really cool thing. And the bloater that Tommy was going against, who he lit on fire and then just kind of passed out and died there, was kind of crazy. So yeah, Jeannie says so. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you play as Joel in the first game. And so that's your guy. Like, you're playing. It's like literally playing as Rick Grimes the entire time. And then season 6 comes around. The lineup comes up. Negan kills Rick, and now you're focused as Negan. That's basically what happens in the second game, and it happens right away, like it did on the show. Like the second episode, the second out of 7 episodes, and we're gonna see Joel again. We're going to see flashbacks. Not like so. Let me rephrase that. Joel is dead, very much dead, and he's going to be seen in flashbacks with Ellie when they do things, and it's going to be heartfelt and nice and good to see Pedro Pascal like that. And he probably is going to be in very much of the season, but it's kind of like watered down and crappy because we know there's no chance of them coming around too. So. But it's still like, you know, it's like memories, right? Like, of course, no one's truly gone until they're gone, and no one's truly gone unless we stop remembering them or talking about them and thinking about them. And in real life, too, like if you lose a family member or a pet or, whoever, they're coming to our lives and they're there, and it's good. It still sucks and it hurts, and you wish you could see them and talk to them. But, you know, it just happens. And so they did a good job with it. I'm not going to lie. Like, they did what they were going to do in the game for the show, when it's basically shot for shot, really spot on. And it's tough to watch, and it's supposed to be tough to watch. And now it sends Ellie down this revenge arc to go after Abby with Dina and Jesse and her people to go after that. And then we're going to meet another group of cult people that try to kidnap people and stuff. So there's going to be a whole bunch of things going on. And so the action is not going to stop. It's just going to be, you know, Joel can't help Ellie. Tommy's got to help Ellie. And I'm sure it's going to be like Tommy says, don't go out there. Joel wouldn't want this and blah, blah, blah. And Ellie's going to say, I don't care. I'm going to do what I want anyway. And then you're going to have Ellie versus Abby kind of a thing, and it's just going to be how it is in the video game, and it's just going to be kind of crazy, which is good, you know, which is going to be entertaining to watch, but it just stinks that we lost Joel. And so it's, I'm not going to lie, it was upsetting to watch and teared up a little bit. Pedro did a great job, and Bella did a great job, and so did Caitlin Dever. Like, they all did. They played it out exactly, you know? And so I was like, oh, man, it was tough to watch. And knowing So the whole thing about it too is like you understand what Abby is doing and why she's doing it, because if we were following Abby from the very beginning, then we would hate Joel and Ellie and that whole group. But we weren't. We were following Joel and following Ellie and following that. And Abby, you know, her family is killed because of Joel. And Joel just goes in and saves Ellie. And there's going to be, you know, it's a complicated relationship with Ellie and Joel. And now Ellie is going to go after revenge for Abby. And we'll have to see how it plays out. But as far as I believe, I think there is a third season for The Last of Us. I don't know where it's going to be and what's going to happen. If they're going to stretch out the arc of Ellie versus Abby. Because again, we have 2 episodes down, 5 to go. Then I'm sure they're going to expand upon the Eugene character. And, you know, it's going to expand upon everything with Jackson Hole and this and Tommy and Marie and everything. It's going to be all this stuff. It's going to be a bunch of things that I'm excited to see. And it's definitely so. Damaged, but where the ENT. They haven't watched a lot of our vids because I haven't been posting a lot of videos. I've just been really doing live streams on Sundays to talk about a lot of different things and everything. And so it's kind of nice just to spend the hour on this Sunday to talk about different shows and everything too. So we watched Den of Thieves 2, Pantera, and it's O'Shea Jackson Jr. and Gerard Butler, and it was a pretty good movie. It was a nice, you know, high stakes heist movie and kind of crazy, but it's definitely a movie to check out on Netflix. It's worth watching. So it's just something that The Last of Us is kind of really good. I haven't watched any Dark Winds at all since the first episode, so I don't know. Should I go back and watch? Is this season even any good? I know the finale is tonight for Dark Winds. Is it even worth watching? Because it got a little crazy and a lot of dumb stuff on there too, and the first episode was a little outside of my just what I wanted to watch, but I might watch down the road. Billions is still great. Still watching that, I believe, on the 4th season. And so, yeah, nothing really else. We were watching the draft a little bit and getting stuff together for around the house and just little projects here and there. How about you guys? Do you recommend any shows, movies, anything? So we watched Daredevil, Born Again. It's Born Again? Yeah. And, you know, definitely check it out if you have Disney Plus and you like Daredevil and you like The Punisher and you like Kingpin and you like that whole story on there too. So I like Daredevil from an aspect of it, but I love the fact that The Punisher is in it and it's Jon Bernthal. And I'm a really big fan of Jon Bernthal, so he's definitely something that if you haven't seen any of that, I would definitely go back and watch the Netflix version of Daredevil, if it's even on Netflix anymore. I don't even know. Did Marvel acquire, or did Disney acquire that? And so that's the 2nd season of the Daredevil show that was on Netflix. And that's the best season in my opinion. And Punisher Daredevil situation is really good. And then it kind of carries over here a little bit. And, you know, Jon Bernthal does a good job with the storyline and everything for that. And yeah, it's worth it. So finish that. And yeah, I haven't really been watching too much other stuff. How about you guys? Like I said, let me know your thoughts. Post your comments below about it too. So season 2, episode 1 was really good for Last of Us, setting up the stuff here and, you know, the stuff with flashbacks that we'll see with Eugene and Joel and Gail, the therapist. And then we'll see where it was going for there. And then they set up the big epic sequence of Abby, because my dad didn't know any of the games and anything on there too, and so I told my dad, have you watched the episode? And he didn't, and then he watched it, and I was like, you better have your tissues ready on there. And he's like, oh, is it good? I'm like, I don't know as if it was good. I mean, it's a good episode and it's done well in there too. But would you classify it as good? I'm like, I don't know. It's tough to say because it's tough to watch. It's tough to see what happens. The action sequence is good. The battle is pretty good of the infected, and Jackson Hole and Tommy is a badass and everything. And Dina and Jesse, and I like Jesse a lot. He's a character that hopefully they expand a little bit more too, and that's what the show can do. They can expand more and more and more. Cyber Crystal says it's all on Disney Plus now, the old Netflix seasons of Daredevil, so that's cool. There you go. Check it out over there. Mystic Rebel says, after watching so many of my Walking Dead favorite characters dying, I was still shocked over Joel dying, but then got used to it thanks to The Walking Dead. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we get kind of desensitized to it. I mean, the Negan lineup has to be up there, right? Like, Joel dying is tough. And it's terrible. Or how do you guys rank it? Do you rank the Negan lineup with Glenn and Abraham, or the Joel death by Abby as harder to watch, or more? I don't know how to quantify the words. Is it more brutal? Is it tough? Is it terrible? Is it breaks your heart more? Like, I mean, they're both terrible. I mean, but if you had to pick one, which is worse? Yeah, I mean, it's still bad. I mean, it's still like a apocalyptic situation that it was people instead of the infected, right? It was people going after that. So that's always the thing where it's tough in a dystopian zombie apocalypse, whatever. You go, people are a problem. Supplies are a problem. Infected, walkers, zombies, werewolves, whatever. Aliens are the problem too. So it's like all these different things coming at you. And now Jackson Hole has to really step up their game, rebuild. And then I'm thinking to myself, so let's talk about episode 2 a little bit, right? So it's super cold in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. It was like negative whatever, right? -5, -10, negative whatever degrees outside. I've never been in negative temperatures. The coldest I've ever really been is like 9 degrees, maybe a little colder, but like not negative. I doubt you can walk around and be in the snow and ride horses in there for very long, if at all, in negative temperatures. And they were going out. For what was the purpose of them to go out on some supply test thing, check out things, run patrols? Like it wasn't necessary. The cold would freeze everything. Like, negative temperatures is crazy, plus the wind chill. It would be so cold. And the cold temperature is in the atmosphere, in the air, the thermometers are. It's probably even colder in the ground. Right? And so, like, you just wouldn't be getting around very well. And then when Abby slides down, she's like looking at the riders and she sees that stuff and she ends up sliding down there too. And she gets up and there's all these infected, frozen in the ground, by the way, that have been there for how long? They get underneath each other and they stay warm, I guess, somehow, some way. And then Abby is running from them. And I don't know how many there are. A couple hundred infected? 1,000 infected? Like, it's crazy. And they're running like no problem whatsoever. So you have a host and a parasite, we'll say, right? So the fungus is, the cordyceps fungus is the parasite. And the people are the host. So the fungus can make the people, the host, do whatever it wants, is what's happening here. The parasite and the fungus is taking over the body of the people. And so they're making them run, they're making them do this, but the body would be frozen. Like, you wouldn't be able to move very well. And then the fungus is communicating with each other to tell them where to go because it's in the pipes. Which I'm like, okay. But the body of the host people would just, the limbs would break off. The bone would just, the arteries and everything would be, it just wouldn't work. And they are running so fast, by the way, in snow and ice and everything crazy. And so they're going towards it, and you're like, man, Abby gets away, and she gets up on there and stuff too. And her face would be so frostbitten. And it was red, and so was Joel's. And you could see the red and the harshness of it. But it's just like that kind of reading too much. And I know it's not real life. It's fiction and whatever in there too. But I was just kind of thinking about it. I was like, man, because like when stuff is out of reality somewhat on there too, it's just interesting a little bit. But I just feel like, and they had to have the swarm and the group go into the Jackson Hole and have this big epic situation to cause the problems and the battle, and they could do there, and there would be, Joel would have to go there and have his demise against Abby. And I mean, they did a great job. Everybody involved is what it was, and it had to be the story for what it was to get them alone. But I was just thinking about that too. I'm like, man, this Jackson Hole, Wyoming is freezing cold, and the fungus was unaffected. And maybe it would be. I mean, maybe it's not. I mean, but fungus typically is in like tropical areas. You know, and like they're running into stuff and crazy going into there and the like I could see like the bloaters and the big fat ones that were coming around that would break in there. Would just maybe a little bit better. And how are they so big? Like who are these bloaters? Right? Like the people were just like regular people. Like it would be like different things, or like how do they the bloaters kind of be that big? Because the bot, like, they would have to be like huge people, like basketball players, football players, you know, just obese, overweight, tall people that, you know, you can't just make someone bigger like that. Like, at least with like Beta, he was a former basketball player in the comic, and on the show, he was a former country singer. So you kind of like, you know. So I was just thinking about that. It's not a big deal. I mean, I know it had to happen because Joel had to be separated. And the irony of it, like Howard has said, Joel saves Abby's life. She is about to be attacked by the infected, and he kills the infected. And she still has no sympathy or any appreciation for that whatsoever, that she was just saved by it. Because she was bent on revenge and everything was there too. And no one else saw that besides us. And so it wasn't like, maybe Dina may have seen it, but I highly doubt it because Dina was there with Joel. And it was just those three, and they had to go back to the lodge too. So, and well, yeah, so we saw Dina's hand have the frostbite and stuff. So you're like, okay, but they talked about it, and you know, it's Abby would have had the same thing. She was in the cold. I don't know how long she was out there for that time, because she was waiting out there for a long enough time. So it was just something that I'm like, okay. I mean, they had to have the story, and it's not a big deal on there. But it just sucks, right? It just sucks that Joel can't do anything more heroic for anything, and now we have to, because Pedro is really great. I would assume that everybody likes him as Joel. I don't know what the percentage is for people that like Ellie or don't, but I mean, I don't mind Bella Ramsey as her. I think she did a great job in this scene when she comes into the lodge and goes in and has the knife ready and whatever, and then she like swings to the guy and cuts the guy, and then the guy kicks her down, and she's thrown down on the ground, and she's there crying, and she's upset, and she's and she's like, get up, get up, like you feel like her heart is breaking and he's trying, and it's just so sad. And it's a great job. Like if the people who don't like Bella Ramsey said she didn't do a good job there, then they're just nitpicking, because I think she did a great job. And I don't mind her. She's got the snarky attitude, and that's fine. That's Ellie. And she looks somewhat like Ellie. There's other people that look more like her, obviously, like her mom in the show. And there's certain things, but I think overall it's fine. And I really hope she does things to win people over, because, people are going to complain no matter how good she is or how bad she is. Like, she could do well for 90% of the episodes, but people don't like her. That's fine. But I thought she was good on Game of Thrones, and I thought she's good here too. So I don't think the castings at all have been bad. I think everybody has been casted very well. And so it was on the other day on HBO, and I was watching some of it. And it was the part where Abby slides down and the infected run after her on there and stuff too. And I could only watch it for so long because I didn't really want to watch it. But I feel like I might want to watch I know there's a YouTube video that people posted on Facebook that it's side by side of the video game and the acting. And the only thing, Abby is just way too muscular in the game. like I just don't understand, because yes, she was trained and she's technically military, militia, some sort like that too, but she's just way too muscular for a apocalyptic world that just wouldn't have stuff so readily available. And so, I think the casting of Caitlin Devers has been good. So, Carol asks Q&A. Someone said Joel would be in flashbacks. Is this true? Yes, Carol. So, Joel, you will see Joel a lot more than. So, there's two things that come out of my mind that I think of when Joel flashbacks. So, we're going to see Joel, at least two, because Joel is going to talk with Ellie after. So, remember at the dance where the guy, said the bad stuff about Dina and Ellie, and Joel comes in and pushes him down, and then he's there with the guitar, and he's playing the guitar underneath the light on the front porch. We still have to see that whole conversation, and that's a flashback that we'll see of Joel and Ellie. We have to see Joel with Eugene. We have to see that whole thing play out. And now the other thing is Joel and Ellie. There's a nice scene when it's, years ago, where Ellie and Joel go to a museum. And it's nice moments because Ellie wants to be an astronaut. And so there's this whole nice playful scene with Joel and Ellie just being like a father and daughter having a nice moment. And so there's going to be several of those. And so that's at least three flashbacks that I'm looking forward to seeing. And maybe some are tonight. But again, we have, episodes 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So we have 5 more episodes to see what happens. Now, the first big question was, are they going to kill Joel off? And they did in the second episode. And then now the next big question for me is, how is this season going to end? Because, spoiler alert, the game ends with Ellie leaving a farmhouse to go into the woods and go off on another adventure, leaving the door open for a third game. Which I would assume they got to be working on a third game. The success of the first 2, plus this series, people want more and more and more and more of Last of Us. And so Ellie and Dina, they have a baby and everything. So you see a bunch of stuff happening, setting stuff up. But you also encounter Abby, and Ellie is captured, and Abby helps Ellie. And there's a whole big thing where Ellie and Abby, it's just a whole big thing where stuff happens. And it's just a thing where we'll have to see how it goes on the show. But I would assume that because Ellie has the chance to kill Abby, and it doesn't happen. And then what's going to be the future of that? Is that going to be how it ends there, leaving the door open for that? Is there going to be more story that they're talking about for a third game? Is there going to be a third story for a third season that's just different material? Do the writers have enough material for it? Because we all know the source material. You can go watch a million videos or play the video game right now and watch how the rest of this season's probably going to unfold, because it's just been a shot-for-shot remake of the video game, which is fine. But if we go the route of Jesse, Dina, and Ellie going to Seattle, going here, going against these weird, cult tribe people, going in this there to Abby having problems going against people, there's different, factions and tribes and groups that we're going to come across. And so we'll see all that. And there's a lot more action, a lot more stuff, and a lot more involved for Ellie and Abby in the future of this season and potentially beyond. So the future is whatever they want to make of it. I just don't know what it's going to be and when they run out of the second game material. Because they're going to expand on flashbacks. They're going to expand on this. They're going to expand on a Eugene character that's not really important for the video game, but for the show, yes. They're going to expand on certain things. And so if we have 5 episodes, and I believe one of those episodes is only like 45 minutes. Majority of the episodes are an hour or like a little over an hour. So let's just say we have 5 hours left. I don't know how much gameplay is the second game, but it's way more than 5 hours or 7 hours or 10 hours. Like, it's a lot. And so the second game can be divided into a third season too. So we might just get 3 seasons. And again, I don't know what the future is for HBO and Naughty Dog and the writers and the show and the video games and whatever they're trying to do there too. But so it's something that I'm going to watch and be excited for. I watch every Monday. I watch it every Monday because it's on so late. And so it's definitely something that I'm excited to watch for the rest of the time. And we only have 5 more episodes. Like, they go fast. Like, we wait forever for the shows to come back. And then it's over like that. Just like any good show, Yeah. So Carol, it's a good question. Did anyone think Ellie saying, "I'm going to kill you," reminiscent of Rick saying that to Negan? Not when I was watching it, but yes, now that you think about it, Negan is still very much alive. Rick has the chance to kill him and basically tries to, and they save him and he's alive, and Negan is going to be in Dead City in next Sunday is Dead City, starts May 4th. So you have that whole thing, and I think it's going to be a similar thing where Ellie has the ability to kill Abby and she's not going to do it. Just like Rick and Negan. And I wonder why they do that in shows, games, comics, story, movies. That it's a big buildup. And it's like, I'm going to do this and my revenge takes over. And then they don't do it. I mean, it's got to be difficult to take a life. It's got to be difficult to do any of that. But if your parent, loved one, father figure, spouse, brother, sister, whoever, somebody you care about, gets brutally killed, like Joel's death is brutal. I mean, he's there on the radio and is like, Tommy, come in, Tommy. Yeah, blah, blah. And they're like, all right, let's get the guns. Let's get going. And like, nope. She takes out a shotgun and shoots him in the leg. And he is bleeding from the wound and suffering. And he's stuck there. And he is trapped because he can't go anywhere. And then she punches him in this thing, punches him in the wound and hits him in the wound and takes the golf club and hits him with it and hits this and there too. And then the only thing, it's kind of like, I'm not going to let someone just wail on me and do this and whatever. Like, I don't care if there's 100 people in the room. Like, it's going to be, I'm going to fight back a little bit, even if it's like just push her away or something. Because, like, he's brutally getting beat up and he's just sitting there taking it. And yes, it would kill and it'd be immense pain, and he's probably not seeing straight and he's half frozen and everything else on there too. But fight or flight kicks in and Joel's a badass dude. And you're like, ugh, just crazy. And then he finally says something when she picks up the golf club and she's like talking. And she's like gonna go into more of her monologue speech. And he's like, just shut and get it over with. Come on. And he's like, you don't get to tell me what to do, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right. And, you could have got a couple licks in. You could have got something in there, too. Like, swing at the thing and block her and try to fight for the thing. And then he gets punched in the face. Like, okay, like, you're trying something. It was just literally like... And then she puts the tourniquet on his leg to stop his bleeding. Or prevent, bleeding out. And it would kill and it would be terrible. Like, it'd be brutal in there too, yeah. How would he fight back? Oh, I don't know. Literally put his hands up, block something, do something. He knows he's outnumbered. Yes, very good. But laying there and just like taking it, like, that's not Joe. That's not a lot of people in my mindset. I don't see that happening at all. So you're just going to let someone punch you in the face and kick you and be on there too and like come at you with a golf club in some sort of way. Like, not even try to move or try to do something at all. You're just going to let it happen? I mean... Yes, he was outnumbered. He had no chance of doing anything. He was shot in the leg. He was wounded. He was brutal. He was there. He was going to die. He was going to be in trouble. He was going to do that too. It was going on anyway. She was toying with him over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Like, she was out of breath. She probably has bruises and things on her knuckles from punching him brutally over and 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 over again. And so, like, just the way they kind of did it too, like the writers be like, nah, man, we have to give him a little something. And it's writing, right? So it's fictional. So he could have tried anything. Like, she swings at him and he moves and grabs it and throws her and she hits the glass and like gets one good lick in there or something. Like, you just make, like, he was done, accepting of it, was okay. But, yeah, after a while, like, there's nothing you could do. It could have been a little something in there, Exactly. I'm just saying try. Like, yes, we all knew he wasn't going to make it, and he knew it. And so, like, he could have just, like, told her to shut up sooner or whatever. Like, all right, I got it. He didn't say anything. It's literally just Abby's monologue. Like, the fireflies are gone. And other stuff too. And he didn't even get to say, like, totally understand what you're saying. But my girl was in trouble and I would have done it again. You know what? I don't care about who your parents are. They were going to kill my daughter. Never said at all. Right? Big difference. But it's the Abby show. Ooh, this character we've never met until 2 episodes earlier in there too. But it's like, And trust me, I loved it. The performance was just like the game. Pedro did a great job. They all did a great job on there too. But I'm just like, that's how I would have wrote it. And oh wait, I do write stuff like that in my book. And I change things like that. And I put it in there as like, come on. You're going to fight for yourself, for your people, for anything. And maybe he felt he had... So, like, there should have been a little bit something there, too, because he probably had to be like, look, I want to save Dina's life. because that was the other thing that was like, okay, I can't let this go on any longer. And so I guess he had to do that too. And so it's just kind of been something like, all right, do whatever you want with me, but make sure you don't touch her at all. You don't touch anybody else. You just let you let me do it. You let me pay the price for what I did. There was no dialogue between back and forth. Yeah, that would have been great. Like if it was any other thing, if the Naughty Dog writing would have been like, Ellie would have came in and shot Ellie or something. If it was like a movie or something, that would have been like how it happened, and that probably would have been how the movie ended. As Ellie comes in and takes out Abby, and there's a gunfire and all this other stuff, and of course Joel dies, but it would have happened there, and then the scene where at the grave or something like that. I just thinking on there too. And well, I'm not trying to nitpick on there too. It's just like I just wish Joel could have been like a little bit more on there too, because like I see it as a thing where I'm like, and it's easier said than done by far, right? It's always like, yeah, I would have done this and I would have done that and I would have had that too. But like, and I feel like Joel knew his life was over and he knew that they got him, and like all the stuff he had to do. And there had to be some sort of thing setting that up when they were talking about Eugene, because you could see how it affected Joel when Gail was talking about Eugene. Because Joel's not a psycho. Joel's not there, but he would protect Ellie, and he did. And so it's just kind of crazy. And it was done how it was done. It was done. And, you know, at least it wasn't just like Abby, like she was outnumbered. Like it would have been Fear the Walking Dead would have done it as like Abby goes there and kills Joel without being outnumbered or something. But at least it made sense because, again, you're right. You're saying he's outnumbered. He had the two guys, that she had the two girls, so it was 5-on-2. At least I remember if I remember the count right. And so they were outnumbered, and then they put her to sleep, and so it was 5-on-1. And he's got no shot, for sure. But you know, it was just something that I was thinking about it's just probably nitpicking and whatever on there, but I just thought it was something that yeah, I mean, I get you too. So Dragon Ball Rain says, I hear you. I think he would have just caused himself more. Well, he was already getting his butt kicked like so bad. Like literally, he was shot in the leg, which has to be immense pain. And just there, even if the tourniquet's on, like that has nothing to do with pain. That's just blood flow. Right? And then she's like hitting him in the wound, like making him suffer over and over and over again. And then she's punching him over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And then he's laying there just like suffering, bleeding out anyway, you know? And so, yeah, I mean, he couldn't get out of it, and maybe in a different realm, in a different world, different story, different era, he gets out of it. But that's the way they chose to have it go down. And, yeah. Dragon Ball Radiant says, I think Joel knew his day was coming. He had done lots of terrible things to survive almost 21 years. He got Ellie to forgive him. He was ready, nothing to fight back against. Yeah, exactly. So I agree. That's what I was trying to say earlier, that he knew his time was up. He couldn't get away from anything anymore. He knew that's where it was going. And his karma came around. And so Joel is, but that's fine. You know, growing up in the 80s and watching all the Arnold and Sylvester stuff, like they just mow down people left and right. And it doesn't matter at all. You know, here we see Joel take out a whole thing, and it's definitely something that is sad. But it's part of it, and I hope the show, because again, we'll still see Joel, and we'll still see this, and we'll still see all this stuff. But I definitely like the idea of Well, I don't know if he was begging for Abby to kill him. I think he was just accepting of it. I think he was like, all right, this is the way I go out. In actuality, it probably is unnecessary for what Joel did, right? Joel didn't have to go into the hospital and mow all those people down and kill everybody. Because if he doesn't do that, he's very much alive. There's no Abby and revenge and everything on there too. And then it could have been on there as well. But then, Ellie is the cure and Ellie is there, but they couldn't save her. There was no way to save her, is what the whole thing was. And so he chose Ellie's life over potentially saving other people from a potential cure that would have been Ellie's life. And so, we'll have to see how it plays out. But the brutality is not going to stop. It's going to continue on in the rest of the series. I mean, I'm just thinking of Ellie at the end of the game, in the second game. Like, she's missing fingers. Like, stuff gets crazy. Like, you're going to see some crazy stuff that's happening with where she's at now. And it's going to actually be pretty interesting to see how they do it on the show and the twists and turns they have. But I just think it's going to be, shot for shot the video game again. Like, because you couldn't change it enough, I guess, especially now. That you had to have Joel be killed by Abby, because this sets up the next arc of Ellie, Dina, and Jesse. If Joel is around, then that doesn't happen. So the big thing is that Ellie has to do this route because that's where it was going, and lucky she was learning some skills from Tommy and the people there. But now it becomes the Ellie mainly focused story, and also Abby as well. So I don't know, do people like the casting of Abby? Because I know some people don't like the casting of Ellie, but is that a deal breaker? Is the Abby casting good or bad for a lot of people? I think it's fine. I think she's okay for the role. I think she did a good job. I don't think, for the villain of that. So we'll have to see how it goes out. I mean, it's a very interesting, complex thing, and I do like the idea of seeing where it's going to go. And I'll be watching, of course, just like all of us will. Because, we got Dead City starting up on Sunday, which I apologize, I'm not going to be able to do a live stream there. I just don't have time that day to do the live stream. And so I'm going to try to do one on the 11th, but I probably won't be able to do that either because I have kind of a busy schedule coming up for the next couple weeks. And so it sucks because I want to be here for the live stream of Dead City, but I'll have to try and make a video or something talking about the episode because The Walking Dead's coming back, and we'll have to see what happens with Dead City. And then Daryl Dixon for whenever that's going to be. I'm guessing October for season 3. And what happens with Daryl, Carol, for the future of them after season 3. If that's going to be more of that. There's been no green light for that. And then Negan, Maggie, Herschel, Adama, Croat, and that too. It's interesting to see what's going to happen in Dead City. I just need it to be more connecting with The Walking Dead. I would love for someone to show up. It was nice for the Simon flashback. We're probably going to get a Lucille flashback. We're going to get hopefully some sort of twist and turns and everything there too, because if it's really a battle for New York City, I don't know if that really is captivating enough for myself or a lot of people. You have to be a Negan fan, obviously. You have to like Maggie or tolerate Maggie. You have to want to see what Negan's going to do. Because Elvira says, we need The Walking Dead Infinity with Rick Grimes in charge of CRM looking for the cure and saving the world on his helicopter. I would love to see Rick Grimes again, and I think I don't really even know how successful The Ones Who Live was. I don't know how it went for ratings, interest. I don't know the numbers. I don't really care about the numbers, but so are you guys excited for Dead City? Are you guys excited for the continuation of that? Because I would love for the CRM to be involved. Yes, we have Negan, and yes, we have Maggie and Herschel. But the other stuff, like the Croat, that's just for this. I mean, yeah, I guess he's technically a savior, but not really. The Dama, just for the show. The Bricks, just for Dead City. The New Babylon Marshals, just for Dead City. You know, Armstrong, I like him. He's good. But I would love for a connecting point with CRM. With The Walking Dead. And I would love for, you know, I would say like, so if Carol took over Lance's job and then Carol just left, who's taking over Carol's job? And I think I would love for like one more thing to kind of wrap it all up, the final thing, bring it all together. Daryl, Carol, Negan, Maggie, New York City, CRM, or beyond anything. Because The Walking Dead technically ended. And then we still get more stuff. And you're like, Like I said, the best way I think about it is the main story of the video game is over. But there's still the last bit that you're trying to wrap up with side quests and little things and try to get little other, you know, DLC or something where you're like, well, I finished the story, but I have to do this quest to get this last outfit or this last thing or this last ability or something. I would love to see Jerry or Ezekiel or Mercer. Like it would be really great. Excuse me. If Mercer shows up with his blend of Commonwealth soldiers and CRM soldiers and gear and whatever. And I know it's a cop-out for some people if the military shows up in zombie stuff. I would love to have seen that. And I don't know, what is Dead City going to be? Is Negan just going to take over New York City? And that's the end of the story. Like, how does Dead City end? It's called Dead City, so it's going to have to revolve around New York City for as long as the story plays out. And Negan has so much plot armor on him that he's never going to die. Because he should have died several times by several different people. And none of these people in Dead City can kill him, right? The only one that should kill him, if anything, which I don't want to see, but if anyone's going to kill Negan, it should be Maggie. And I don't want to see that, but I'm saying, and I don't think Negan's going to die. I don't think Maggie's going to die. I don't think Carol, Daryl is going to happen. But, you know, it is what it is, and it's just something that we'll have to see how it plays out. I hope Gimple and the Walking Dead people know what they're doing. And I don't want it to feel rushed, but I also don't want it to be stretched out for a ton of seasons. Like, we need to bring Daryl back on around to the United States. He needs to reunite with Rick, with Judith. We need to see them, right? But I don't know what the feel. Is Morgan ever going to be reunited with Rick? I don't know. They left the door open, but leaving the door open doesn't mean we're going to see anything of it too. And I don't know if we're going to have the true ending. Even though Rick, Michonne, Judith, and RJ had their ending, and it was good. It was a little forced. It was a little this. It was a little Hallmark. Yeah, but it's fine. when you kill off Rick in the comic, everyone's like, are you going to die? Is he going to die? How's it going to happen? And they're like, nah, Rick Grimes ain't die. Ain't dead. Yeah, I just want to see Daryl come home. Like, whether it's going to be at the end of season 3 or season 4 or whatever, like, don't just have him live in London. Yeah, so Daryl's going to be in the UK, even though it's filmed in Spain. Daryl and Carol can do it all. And they can. But, there has to be a resolution of things. There has to be an ending. And the ending is everybody lives, everybody dies. Everybody this, everybody that. Safety, not safe. There, we know at the end of The Ones Who Live that everything was done for the CRM. What are the true villains? Okay, there's going to be small little groups. There's going to be small little things out there, yes. But it's Daryl and Carol. Ain't no one going to stop them. Come on. Especially in The Walking Dead. You're not going to stop Negan. You're not going to stop Maggie. You're not going to stop Rick, Michonne. Ain't going to stop any of those people. And with the CRM now just being the Civic Republic, it's one circle instead of 3. I just think it's going to be, wrap it up and move on with it. If they do the cure angle, they don't. I mean, that's fine. You don't have to. The comic had an ending. And they love to have like a farmhouse in the middle of nowhere where it's Carl and Sophia and their child. And in The Last of Us, it's Dina and Ellie and their child in a farmhouse. It's like all these things, like in a farmhouse in the middle of nowhere, safe and sound. But are they really? I don't know. It's like all these different things. Because if you're alive in a zombie apocalypse, dystopian universe, there's never truly safety until the laws are put back in place. Society is back put in place. I don't know if it's ever going to be back put in place for any of those things. Unless there's some government entity of the world that tries to stop things and whatever, and there can be order again. Because the lawlessness of it is the crazy thing. And if everyone's infected, it takes one other thing to happen that can start up another apocalypse. But time goes by and you survival of the fittest. It just makes sense that you would do things aside. And some people would live, some people wouldn't, some people this. And that's life anyway. That's life as we know it now, without all the craziness. But we'll see. I mean, it'll play out in there too. So just a book update. I'm working on the cover now. I'm going to post it on my Patreon and post a couple other things there first. And the book series is coming together really nice. I finished my edit. I finished my there too. My wife's going to continue reading and doing that. And then I have to go through it again. And then we should be good. Trying to set up things for, I don't know how many books it's going to be for this continuation. But there's definitely more story to tell. And I feel like that's life. There's always more story to tell. Whether you're 15, 55, 85, whatever. There's always more stuff going on. And from the beginning of your life to the end of your life, never stop learning, never stop smiling, never stop trying to have fun, seeing things in a light. Because it's not all good, it's not all bad. But let's just see where it's going to take us. Let's enjoy the journey, the ride, the ups and downs and all arounds. And if we do that, we'll have a good time. We'll have a good life. Right. And a good story is relative, though. It's perspective. Someone's good could be another person's bad, and vice versa. So if we keep a positive outlook on life and see things in a good positive light, as much as we can, there's certain things that are never going to be truly positive, but if we can kind of learn from it and grow from it and move on from it and face adversity to know that we can get through it no matter what it is. We can do it. We can keep going. But all right, guys, that's my time. Like I said, I won't be here next Sunday, May 4th, which sucks because that's the first episode of Dead City Season 2, and I apologize for that, but life gets in the way, schedules get in the way. But I'll be back, I'm hoping for the 11th, but I'll let you guys know for the 11th. I don't know. But if not, if the worst case, I'll be back for the 18th to talk about that too. So I'm going to have to try and make some videos then of Dead City and The Last of Us if I can't be here on the live stream, because I do love talking to you guys. But remember, guys, with hard work, dedication, belief, and sacrifice, you can truly achieve your goals no matter what they are. Keep working hard. I'll be back when I can be back. Enjoy tonight's episode of The Last of Us and next Sunday's Season 2 premiere of Dead City. Keep working hard, guys. I'll see you later. Stay safe.